Great, thanks, Kellen. And thank you everyone for those of you who came in person, everyone online. Really excited to talk to everyone today about our electrification rebates we're rolling out. Yeah, just to chat more. So next slide. Just so you know, as Kaylin mentioned, we are recording this session. So obviously, please, we have the mute button there. So please keep yourself on mute. I'm going to try and hold all questions till the end. So if you have a question, just hold on to it, throw it in the chat if you're online. And I promise we will have time to go over questions at the end. I'm going to try and be as thorough as possible, but we've got a lot of slides to get to. So yeah, I think that's okay. So obviously some of you worked with us before, some of you haven't. I'm just going to do a quick overview just so you know who we are. We're the DC Sustainable Energy Utility, also known as the DCSEU. We are a community-minded organization. We've been around since 2011, and basically we, pay out money to people to basically make environmentally responsible decisions. We, help with training, and we try and make an impact to kind of make sure that the transition, kind of a more sustainable economy benefits everyone in the district. So that's kind of our goal. And our programs are set up to kind of meet certain markets and meet people where they are. Started with the Clean Affordable Energy Act. Basically, on every PEPCO bill, we are ratepayer funded. There's a little thing called the Sustainable Energy Trust Fund, and that basically pays what we then give out to the community. So we are just trying to basically reinvest what is paid to us and make sure that that impacts people in powerful ways. We are under a contract with the basic DC government, Department of Energy and Environment, where we basically have to meet certain metrics around electric savings, greenhouse gas savings, green jobs, all these things. So that's where we kind of report to. And we are designed to fulfill DC's clean energy and climate goals through community-centered initiatives, foster equity, deliver lasting value. This obviously, electrification is a big goal of the district, and part of what we're trying to do today is to help with that goal. So yeah, so program goals for today. This is about residential electrification. So all sorts of stuff. So gas to electric conversions, people going from furnaces to heat pumps, gas water heaters to water heaters, heat pump water heaters, gas stoves, electric stoves, all that stuff. So talking a lot about that today. This is for kind of middle and higher income households. We have some programs for lower income households as it stands for electrification. So this would be kind of that middle to higher income folks in Washington, DC. We want to work with local contractors and people who do the implementation work like you guys. And we're having a lot more funding, which is why the incentives are higher and we're offering more measures. So that's kind of the big overarching goals of this program. Okay, so agenda. We're going to go over the program. We're going to go over the rebate offerings. We're going to talk about compliance and documentation, what we're expecting to be submitted to get these rebates. And then just kind of go through a quick thing of other DCSEU programs that you might be interested in, as well as a Q&A that will go through all your questions. All right, so DC electrification rebates. DC electrification rebates will provide enhanced rebates, middle and higher income folks in DC, to upgrade their efficient heating and cooling equipment, certain Energy Star appliances such as stoves and dryers, and electrical upgrades like heavy ups and other things like that. For homes switching their fuel source from gas to electric, we will be providing significant rebate amounts to cover the cost of those changes. And for homes doing electric to electric, we are still offering a higher rebate than we are currently, just not as much as the fuel switch as we are for the fuel switch. Just to level set, these are not IRA rebates, so people would be eligible for this, and if they applied for a tax credit, et cetera. But we're not going to be talking about the IRA at all today. It's not how this program is funded. So here are all our residential rebates. The primary ones we're going to be talking about today are like the home heating and cooling, and the dryers and the water heating and stoves. But we also offer dehumidifiers, smart thermostats, refrigerators, lawn equipment. So there's a lot of stuff we offer, but these are these are kind of some of them that we do in the residential side. So, okay, so DC electrification specific rebate offerings. So, as I mentioned before, the big ones are heat pumps. That's both ducted and ductless, so mini splits and air source heat pumps, heat pump water heaters, electric heat pump and hybrid clothes dryers, as well as conventional electric clothes dryers, electric cooktops, like electric stoves and induction stoves. We are offering everything. Every rebate that we're offering has to be at least Energy Star, with the exception of the heat pump water heaters. That's a different set of criteria, but it's similar. We use a different qualification criteria. We also have, we have a whole list on our website that you can search and figure out if the models you sell or the stuff you're installing is eligible. So those are just the 6 things we're going to be talking about today. So resident criteria. So as I mentioned, this is kind of for middle to higher income folks. And the resident criteria is we're mostly trying to serve single family homes. So that's what we consider 4 units or less. This can also include individual condominium owners. So if you own a condo in a building, you own that, we can incentivize stuff within that home. And they have to obviously be located in Washington, D.C. DCSEU only serves D.C. residents. So I know you imagine, a lot of you probably serve D.C., Virginia, Maryland, potentially. So we just want to, it's just D.C. And total rebates are limited to $15,000 per household. So basically you can get one of everything, and it wouldn't be an issue. In terms of equipment criteria, equipment must be new. Refurbished equipment or kind of secondhand equipment is not eligible for rebates. Must be installed in accordance with all laws, codes, and other requirements, both federal and state and locally. Some of our compliance measures, such as permits and things, ensure that we're able to verify that that is done properly. As I mentioned on the other slide, all installed equipment and HVAC measures must be Energy Star certified, NEA certified for hot water heaters. And basically we have 2 tiers of rebates as it stands. So we have like our baseline rebate, which is basically right here for the heat pumps. It's a 15.2 SEER 2, 11.7 EER 2, and HSPF 2, 7.8. The Energy Star is very similar to if you've ever used CEE or any of that stuff. So that's a good like kind of metric, but we also have a whole list on our website that you can search to make sure the models you're installing are also qualified. And the Energy Star most efficient level is a little bit of higher rebate, and then we have the baseline like Energy Star level. So yeah, this is basically, I put the qualified products list there. We'll obviously send the slides out, and you'll have that link so you can look to make sure that the different measures you're installing are on the list and qualified and all of that. So and then this is just what the interface looks like, and we'll attach this as well. So great. So this is the chart I wanted to show you all. These are the 6 installation measures we're looking at. So we have our heat pump water heater, we have our heat pump clothes dryer, electric dryer, electric stove, induction stove. So if you look at so we got 4 columns. Electric to electric is just, they maybe have an old heat pump or electric resistance or something, and they're installing a new heat pump. So that would be what you would put there. Or it's a fuel switch project that we weren't able to verify it was a fuel switch project, so that we get the lower rebate. So everything to the left, these 2 columns on the left are basically electric to electric. It's still an enhanced rebate. Before we were offering for heat pumps $375 and $750. Now we're offering $1,000 and $1,500. So it's still an additional rebate we're offering, and across the board. But for fuel switch, which are kind of where the higher rebates come in, we're obviously offering more. That comes with a bit more documentation to confirm it was a fuel switch project. So that we'll obviously get into that later, but just wanted everyone to be kind of what the types of rebates we're offering. We're trying to push more money into this market to kind of incentivize these technologies. So yeah.
What's the difference between low and high?
Oh yeah. Sorry. Let's go back. So so low and high is just as I mentioned the last slide about the Energy Star versus the Energy Star most efficient. So if you install like essentially the same thing as like a CE tier 1 versus CE tier 2, it's kind of the same thought process. So Energy Star certified would be a low, Energy Star most efficient would be high. And, we have the two columns based on fuel switch versus electric to electric. So
It's based on SEER rating. Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's essentially, yes. Energy Star is like a couple of different requirements, but we also have the list available so that you can make sure the stuff you're selling meets that. So okay, just want to lay this out from the start. This program is for residential electrification. We do not use this program to access discounted heavy ups, which we'll go over later. That's not what the purpose of this program is. You must install a heat pump water heater or a heat pump to access the rebates for heavy ups. So please just don't do it. Brooke and I will review every project, and we will not accept a rebate. So I hate for you to give a discount to someone and then have to tell them that we have to take it back, or you have to eat the cost of it. So just want to be very upfront with that. So required documentation. So basically a lot of this stuff is, the first three things are things that we already require for our traditional rebate program. So pay contractor invoice with a balance due of $0. Basically make sure it was done, it was paid for. Invoices obviously have address, name, all that stuff. Materials invoices match the model number. I think sometimes, contractors and people can get a bit weaselly with stuff like this, which I totally understand, but this doesn't get back to the customer. This just comes to us. We review it. We don't share any of the information. It's just for our purposes to make sure that we run a midstream program. We want to make sure that a discount wasn't applied at the point of sale from a distributor to that product. So this is the only way we're able to verify that. So that's why we need that. Doesn't go to the customer. And then obviously Department of Buildings permit for every heat pump water heater, heat pump project, you need a permit. So we would need that for those projects. Obviously, if it's a stove, dryer, stuff like that, we don't need it. So that would not be needed in that case. And then for the inspection scorecard for like heavy ups, things like that, that's something needed. The photos, which we're going to go over in a moment, these are just for fuel switch projects. If it's an electric to electric, we don't need anything. We just need the first three to process. If it's a fuel switch, we just need a bit more information to just verify that the gas was capped, things like that. So this is kind of the high level of the required documentation. So with the photos, we are asking, and we've been asked this, to have the photos be geotagged. It's a very simple process. Once you set it up in your phone, it's just, you basically just move the thing to location, enabled. And all that does is it just, when you take a photo, it just plots where you are on the earth, puts it in the photo. And then when you send it in, we can just verify that data is the same as where the address you took it. This is just to ensure that, obviously these government's giving a lot of money to this program. They just want to make sure that we are sending money to the right people at the right addresses and all of that. So we have a link here for instructions. We'll obviously send out the slide. We'll have a whole document on what to do, how to do it, but that will be sent out as well. So we're going to run through the slides really quickly. I just want to give a really granular detail of like what we're looking for in the photos. So for example, it's a fuel switch project furnace, right? We basically want one photo that just says, this is a furnace. I can identify this is a furnace in someone's house, and then a fuel line connecting it. So basically one that just shows what the equipment is, and then one that shows some sort of fuel, whether it's, in this case, gas, obviously, that's getting to it. So two photos for this, 3 photos. We could go to the next one, which is boiler, similar thing. we want the system, you can tell what it is. And then basically, like here, we got the oil tank, but just something that basically identifies what the thing is and then fuel source. So basically 2 pre-photos for all these. Gas water here, same thing. Gas water here, gas line, pretty straightforward. Gas stove, we just need 1 photo that basically shows the stove. Like obviously you can see the burners on the top, so it's not, rocket science. You can see it. And then gas dryer, same thing, just think of the photo and then basically just a gas line to it. So those are the 4 things that we're looking for pre-photos for: the dryers, stoves, heat pumps, stoves, boilers, furnaces, clothes dryers, right? Water heater. For all post photos, for all installed measures, we will need a gas cap photo, at least 1, for every spot that the gas was capped. So like if it's, if you did a gas water heater to a heat pump water heater and a gas furnace to a heat pump, you would want to get 2 cap photos because it's generally going to be 2 spots where the gas line runs the equipment. We want 2 photos that show the gas was capped. Pretty straightforward. I'm sure you guys all know what this looks like. It's pretty easy to tell what it is. So that would be that. And then basically the post photos. So for ductless heat pump, we'd obviously like the outdoor heat pump unit and maybe at least 1 indoor air handler just to confirm that you're actually, I don't know why you wouldn't install a heat pump but anyways, we need 1 of the outdoor heat pump unit and 1 of the indoor air handler. Ducted heat pump unit fully in frame, pretty straightforward. You have the outside unit here, and then you have the indoor unit. Okay, and then ducted heat. This should say heat pump water here. That's my bad. But same thing, just photo in frame. You can tell it's what applied for. If you can attach the brand name and see that, that's also helpful because we can match it to the invoice, but also fine. Induction electric stove, pretty straightforward. It doesn't have burners. And also it should be, especially for that one, like you can probably putting it in the same spot where the pre-photo was. So it's pretty easy to tell that it's taken the same spot, unless you're doing some big kitchen remodel. And then photos for electrical panel upgrades, which we haven't gotten to yet, but we'll get to in a second. Old panel, new panel. We'll have the inspection scorecard from DOB to confirm that the ampage is what it is. But those are the photos we would need for that. And then electric circuit addition, we're also incentivizing these, and this is what a photo we could accept for that, what that would look like. Inspection. So separative Department of Building inspections, they will be for a random sampling of projects for the time being. A random sample of 15% of projects over $5,000 or over that, someone, DCSEU staff, will go to a site, coordinate with the customer, walk through, make sure that what we're receiving photos for is installed and all of that. And then we will randomly sample 10% of all fuel switch projects below $5,000. So this is not for any, if you leave here and you're like, I don't want to play in the fuel switch space, I just want to do the electric upgrades, I just want to apply for that portion of it, you would not need to do inspection. It would just be for the projects that are confirmed gas to electric or fuel to electric. So we will hold payment remittance if project is randomly selected. This is just to ensure that we're able to get this kind of wrapped up quickly. It's not going to be a strenuous inspection. We can be very available to your schedule, and we have a lot of staff that can do these inspections. So it will not be a huge issue, but just wanted to make you aware of that. That will be a thing that DC government has asked of us to do to ensure compliance. So the preferred method for documentation is what we showed you. And the reason why we're talking to you guys is because when a customer applies for these things, they might not have all the information, right? You guys pretty much have it all. You go into the home, you're doing the install, you have the invoices, you're able to take the pre-photos. So we're trying to reach you here because there might be someone who, works with a contractor who, applies online and can't get the pre-photos because they didn't know about the program before. So we're trying to reach you kind of at the source to be able to get this out into the orbit. Pre-installation photos and post-installation photos, basically showing what we saw before in the previous slides. That's what we want. That's like the best case scenario. Obviously, some scenarios, things happen, you forget, whatever. For fully electrified homes, what we can also accept is basically a gas bill pre and post. So like if they had like a fuel, a gas stove and a gas dryer and all that stuff, and then they fully electrified, we could have basically the gas bill, and then basically their bill would have no usage after that. They'd still have a gas bill, but they just would get charged. The alternative method is basically post-installation photos as well as contractor invoice. So if you were able to say like, you replaced the Lennox gas furnace, we capped it, whatever, we can't accept that. It's obviously not like the preferred method, but we are able to accept that as proof of compliance. Those are the three kind of documentation things. So obviously we went through all the appliances stuff and heat pumps and all that stuff. We're also offering rebates for electrification services. So that's what I was talking about before. Heavy ups, we're offering $2,000 for heavy up. This obviously contractor invoice, DOB permit, post-installation photos, and electrical circuits. We're offering up to 3. So if someone's getting a new electrical circuit to run something to their electric dryer or their stove or whatever it is, we're offering $400 per circuit, up to $1,200, and that is something. And then just for context, as I mentioned before, the heavy ups must be paired with a heat pump or heat pump water heater installation. So you wouldn't be able to just get like a heat pump, a heavy up with like a stove. It would need to be a bigger like electrification measure. Couple of like small things. So sometimes people, like, we've received applications like this where someone will apply for, I don't know why they do this, but they'll have like a furnace and a gas furnace and also a heat pump. If they have that in the same purchase, we wouldn't really consider that a fuel switch because they're not switching off of fuel. We want homes that are fully switching off fuel. So if they, install a heat pump and also a gas furnace for like extra heating in the winter, we would not be able to incentivize that as a fuel switch project. We'd still be able to incentivize the heat pump, but we would not consider that like the enhanced rebate. And then the other thing that I just want to say is all application materials must be received 30 days from initial DCSEU request for fuel switch documents. So if you submit everything right the first time, this isn't a thing, but basically just we want to make sure that we're able to close these applications and not just keep them open for months as people are saying, oh, I capped it. Like, we want to just make sure that we're kind of moving that forward. If there's a request of like, there's extenuating circumstances, whatever, we can accommodate those. But I think in general, we want to kind of get the fuel switch stuff identified so we can, if we need to do inspection, we can do the inspection and kind of get those paid out. If not received in time and all the other documentations are in besides the fuel switch pictures and things, we would just process at the lower rebate level, like the electric to electric. So just something to be aware of. That one. I'm going to quickly go through this and then we're going to take questions. I figure some of you have worked with us a lot before, some of you have not worked with us at all, potentially. So I want to just go through this real quick. These are other opportunities for contractors that work with the DCSEU. So first off, you can visit our new contractors page. Goes over our residential and business rebates, contract opportunities, such as training, things like that. Cost training opportunities. We also offer options for contractors to be mentors to externs. I was actually part of the workforce development program as an extern. It's a great program. It's a great way to kind of get someone into the workforce and get them trained. And a lot of people we have a lot of great success stories there. And then also, like, if there's ever an RFP and RFQ, we have these there available. So we'd love to engage with you as much as you'll engage with us. So just throwing that out there, and obviously we'll send out these slides so you'll have this link. Business rebates, these are some of the other stuff we offer. Lighting, refrigeration, motors, food service. Obviously we went over HVAC today. And then we offer instant rebates for lighting and HVAC, which also can be found on our website. And if you're ever doing a project and you're like, there should be some energy savings here, I'm not really sure where to start, whatever. We offer custom incentives based on basically greenhouse gas emissions and energy and electric savings. So you always set up time with us to talk. We're always happy to chat, at least see where it goes. So that's that. And then, yeah, as I mentioned, this is workforce development. Twice a year, DCSEU connects district residents with 3 to 5 month paid green externships, working with local contractors and other organizations to discover new careers in energy efficiency and sustainability. So host sites mentors play a key role in hiring, training, graduation at little or no cost to the company. I'll just use Tony's example. Tony is a participant in our workforce development program, and he I think it's yielded good results for Greenscape, DCSEU, and it's been a really great thing. So I definitely would take a look at it if you're interested in kind of getting some new blood organizations and just kind of engage with the community a little more. It's a great opportunity. And Train Green, this is kind of the no-cost training I was talking about. District CBEs or CBE eligible firms can acquire new skills, energy efficiency, renewable energy, and that's also linked here. So definitely recommend checking out both of those. We'd love to engage with you still as much as you'll have us. So definitely recommend that. So yeah, we got QR code there, sign up for contractor updates. I don't know. I imagine some of you are on our Trade Ally newsletter, but that's also an option. If you're not, we'd love to get you signed up. Great. I think this is it, and I think I will take questions. Do you want to start maybe with the chat? I don't know.
Let's do that. Next,
Okay.
Go to the next slide, Brooke, and we'll start this bad boy off. So we have about 4 questions. So
Okay, cool.
Emmett, you'll take the questions in the room. So I know there are probably some questions in the room, and let's run through these 4 questions that are in the chat, and then we'll address it. But basically, everybody, just want to note that to submit a question, you can go into the Q&A or write in the chat. And if you want to voice your question, you're gonna raise your hand. This is all for all my virtual folks, and Emmett and Brooke will take care of all the folks that are in our conference room today. So Carlene, without further ado, let's start reading off those questions.
Okay, can 2 units be replaced in the same house within the same calendar year? For example, would it be possible to do 2 heat pump fuel switches?
At this time, I think we're doing only one, just based on the amount of money that we're handing out. So I think we would only do one in that case, and that's usually across our portfolio. We usually do one per appliance measure per house per year. So I think it would only be one in that case.
Also, I like if there's any more clarifying information that you want to provide around the 2 unit, because if these are 2 separate households inside of, if these are 2 separate households inside of like a small row home or something like that, some of the row homes are broken up into 3 units or 4 units. Please do provide that clarification, because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Emmett, that would be that's a different scenario.
That's different. Yeah. So if it's like, right, as you said, it's like they have 2. Let's say it's a house and then basement unit, separately metered, separate stuff. That would be a different scenario. But if it's like a giant 5,000 square foot house, 1 unit, we would only be incentive as 1 per year. But multiple units, just provide that clarity. We'll obviously work on it. But just thanks for that. Thanks for that, Kayla.
No problem. Carly, next one.
Okay, the next question we have is, does this apply to condo or unit owners as well, since they are responsible for making their own in-unit upgrades, not the association.
Yeah. so
Co-op, sorry, co-op.
Yeah, this would apply to co-ops and condos. Obviously, they own their particular like unit, so any stuff that impacts their unit, they would be able to apply. If it's like if there's a heat pump for the floor or like a condenser unit they're putting on the roof, that's a different scenario. But like stoves, dryers, if they have their own heat pump water heater at their home that powers their home, yes, that would totally fall under the purview of this program.
And as a follow-up to that question, because I was the one who asked it, if there's a boiler, let's say a central boiler, that's providing heat to the heat pumps, but the heat pumps are in the individual units, that could still apply only to the heat pumps, correct?
Yes, yeah. If the heat pumps are serving the individual units, that's fine. But if, like, for example, they wanted to replace the boiler, we would not be able to incentivize that. But
yeah, that would go through the other incentive program.
yes,
through
yeah.
DCSEU.
But
Okay.
that's a good question. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
All right,
Okay, the next question is, are you planning to work with an implementation partner? If so, could you share who that might be?
So implementation contractors, all of you, we're this is why we have you here. Like, we'd love for you to be the implementers of this and provide these rebates to the customers. This is not like a direct service like contractor kind of situation. We have some programs where people who we approve and whatever are direct service, but the implementation contractors are you. We'll work with anyone as long as you meet the licensing requirements in DC. And yeah, happy to engage. Will you have so
Okay.
yeah, I see. So I can see the so will you allow factoring rebate bridge to address quick payments to contractors? No, I think so. We don't do like partial payments for this program. I think ideally we turn this around really quickly and it's not a huge cost on anyone. There's a lot of ways that contractors can do this. If you want to basically offer it at full price and then say, hey, I'm going to apply for this, and then we'll send the rebate to you. You can do it where you apply the discount to them on the invoice, and then you get the money from the. So we're not going to judge or not judge. Like we don't care how you go about that, but that's just kind of how we go. Go, Tony.
I think that's a different question. So if we're doing factoring, I could sell it today, get it cleared today, get it paid for tomorrow by the factoring company. And then can you all send the check? Can I say where the check goes to? So the check would then be sent to the factoring company instead of me. Because it's basically a factoring company is a bank.
Okay.
They're just paying for it early. And on you all's form, is it possible to say who the check needs to go to? Like,
Yeah. You can have a different. Yeah, you can have a different payee.
Yeah.
As long as like it's clear what the relationship is.
Yeah.
Noted.
Bank.
Yeah. That's. I think that should be.
You may need like clarification, written clarification that is who
Yeah.
you intend to send it to, just so all the information aligns.
Mhm.
But as long as we get that confirmation,
Yeah,
we
it's usually a letter.
Yeah. So.
Pascal has a question.
Yeah, I think we don't. So I'll just quickly answer the rest of these questions, and then we're going to go to someone else. We have an existing contract network, people we engage with, people we work with, but it's not everyone's included as long as you can do the work and prove it. And the only training requirements is that you get you do it well enough to get a permit and get it licensed and all of that. There's no other real requirements for training. Design for whole home. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you're saying that it just needs to be someone that has a contract in DC to do business. So what I'm hearing here is that the usual DCSEU insurance requirements
do not
need to be.
need to. Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
So, yeah, as long as you're licensed in DC as a contractor, you don't need to have any of the DCSEU insurance requirements that you need for other programs. So, any other questions? Go ahead.
There's a few more. So, the one is for how long will this rebate program run? / is it approved to run? Is it limited by funding versus time? And if you want me to take this, because it's just like I have a very standard response, I can. But if you wanted to take a stab at it, I'll let you. All DCSEU programs operate on a fiscal year by fiscal year basis. We don't guarantee funding outside of fiscal year for any DCSEU programs, which is why everything is locked into fiscal years. So the applications for this program have to be for installations that happen within this fiscal year, FY 2025. So October 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2025. That's typical of every program at the DCSEU. So that's why I want to just make sure that was clear. And Carlene, did we miss any?
And just to that point, Kaylin, which I think is a great one. Thanks for the fiscal year. Yeah, so October 1st, we're into September 30th is where we are in the fiscal year. We have a nice bucket of money for this program. You know, depending how crazy you all decide to go on this, which I hope you take us and run with it. You know, I would just not build up 100 sales and submit them all at once because we don't exactly know. I would submit as you go just to make sure we don't get in a situation where we're kind of at the end of our budget and you submit a ton of sales and we have to kind of figure that out. So both everything that's installed this fiscal year needs to be submitted this fiscal year, but also submit as you go so that if we budget changes or rebate incentives change, we're able to kind of reflect that as we go. We don't expect it to happen, but I just want to make sure that you guys are made whole and we do that correctly. So go ahead, Pascal.
Is a pre-approval possible or necessary?
I don't think it will be necessary. It's not. It could be possible if it's something that we need down the line, but I don't think it's something that we're looking at this point. But yeah, just submit as you go. You know, we'll do our best to make it work, and I think there should not be big issues and not things that we won't be able to reflect to you. Hey, we're getting close to our limit, whatever. Like so, but I don't think it'll be an issue. But I just wanted to keep it autonomous. So, yeah, a couple more in the chat, right?
Yes, there's a few more, and one is this program designed for whole home and or displacement? I think we may need clarification on that, but I'll preempt you, Emmett, and just say it's an appliance by appliance program. It's a per appliance. So if somebody does one thing, they can do one thing. If they do multiple, they can do multiple. It's flexible in that way because it's a rebate for each particular item.
And in terms of the AMI, percentage of area median income, what service is being used to verify percentage of area median income? So we're not doing any verification. I think if they're in the kind of below, which our home electrification program is 80% or lower. Those are for certified DCSEU direct service contractors that are under contract with us. And they usually go to that program, but anyone can participate. I think I would assume that someone would, want to do the free. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me clarify on that too. This is not an income qualified program.
Yeah.
That's the answer to that. It's not an income qualified. We do have income qualified programs at the DCSU, the Affordable Home Electrification Program, like Emmett mentioned, but this one is not. So there's no income qualifying that needs to go in here. So go along with this program. And I do see a hand, and I see a hand from Lance. So I'm gonna ask you to come off mute, ask your question.
Appreciate that, Kaylin. I just wanted to clarify with respect to income levels. If anyone that is below 80% AMI, we certainly want to sign them up and have them participate in the Affordable Home Electrification Program. under that program, they can have their electrification services fully paid for, as opposed to simply receiving a rebate for a heat pump. If they're income qualified, we would pay to install that entire heat pump in a home, along with other qualifying measures that are eligible for rebates here. So for contractors who are in
It looks like we lost Lance, but I'll follow up with what he was saying with a link in the chat. The Affordable Home Electrification Program is designed. So to answer that question, it is designed for whole home electrification. And that one is for DC residents underneath the area median income. And on that page, you'll see the eligibility. In the eligibility section, it has the income limits, as well as the categorical eligibility that the program that residents need to be, that residents can be in to get them approved. So they don't have to necessarily get their income approved. They might need to just be in the SNAP program, TANF, receive SSI, LIHEAP, weatherization assistance program, etc. And as I believe where Lance was going is that program is operated in partnership with implementation contractors and quality assurance and quality control contractors as well. So, and we have a RFQ that onboards those contractors. So just wanted to know.
Thanks, Gillen. I appreciate the disruption there. Thanks.
No problem. Thank you, Lance, as always. And then I just want to make sure before we get to if there's any more questions in the room, Emmett, please do. Please do ask those. I'm just running through the chat to make sure we got through everything.
I just added another question in the chat. From someone, they said, are these programs stakeable within the HEAR/HER programs?
Understood. So Emmett, I can take this one, but through the DCSEU will be those two IRA programs are going to be income qualified. That's why I will say right now they're income qualified programs, so therefore income qualified residents. And the answer to that is no. So these rebates cannot be stackable with a program designed to provide, in-home, whole home electrification, because they're getting these rebates from us. And if they're going to be participating in IRA funded programs, they will likely be going through our programs as well. And we have measures internally to make sure that we know who's participated in what programs, if that makes sense. I'm looking, there's one more. Thank you, Carlene, for that. Is one more.
I think it's two more. One by Ronald and John. John asks, can a condo community basically fund at the building level related to heavy up between the units in the grid, for instance, in the basement of the condo building where the PEPCO service is? We've encountered many instances where electrical upgrades are required at the building level rather than in the units themselves to facilitate electrification at the unit level.
I mean, I can take it. I think that answer to that question is no, because that's a building upgrade at that point. But Emmett, feel free to.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, I think that yeah.
Okay, and then the other one is, does this program apply to single family homes that undergo gut rehabilitation when switching the equipment from gas to electric?
Yeah, it would. That would work. It's any home upgrade, whether it's a gut rehab, whether it's a replacement. Yeah, obviously, like there's more stuff in the gut rehab, like as insulation and things that we're not covering, but all the stuff that they would do in a gut rehab, heat pumps, heavy ups, all that stuff would all be covered. Yeah.
Okay, I think I have one more. They asked, for how long will this rebate program run? Or is approved to run?
I think we
go
got that one. We got
Okay.
that one.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
One more, I don't know if we'll be able to answer this one, but it is, are these rebates stackable with PACE funded projects? I'm not sure of the answer on that one, and Emmett, if you're not sure, we can address it later. So I think,
can answer that one for you. Killing,
thank you,
the
Lance.
answer is yes. They are stackable with PACE-funded projects.
Thank you, Lance.
I have one more. When will you announce the IRA programs?
We'll do that at a later date. That's as much
Okay,
as I got for
perfect.
you.
I think that is it on my end.
Sweet. So,
Again,
no other
if I
questions?
can
Oh, yeah,
make
go
one
ahead, Lance. Yep.
clarification really quickly. The IRA funded programs have essentially been launched by the DCSEU. The IRA funded programs are being operated in conjunction with two programs that the DCSEU offer: the Affordable Home Electrification Program and the Affordable Home Retrofit Accelerator. The Retrofit Accelerator is a program geared towards multifamily buildings, typically those greater than 10,000 square feet is where we're starting, but we could also deal with 50,000, 100,000 square feet buildings. You will be able to benefit from IRA programs and through those two initiatives. We have combined IRA funding with local government funding under those two programs to be able to serve residents. So you wouldn't specifically see a homes or a HERO program being rolled out by the DCSU, and that's because they are part of two existing programs that the DCSU is currently administering.
Awesome. Thanks, Lance. If there's not any other questions, which I'll give it a second, we will be following up, sending the slides out to people who registered for the session today, as well as some additional information that could be helpful. So the stuff we went over today. And yeah, Kellen, do you have anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
Yeah, just that these slides and this recording will be posted online, and it'll be sent to everybody who registered or attended today. So just do not worry about getting these slides, because you will get them. So, just to reiterate some of the things that Lance said, but I encourage people to go look on the site, because the Affordable Home Electrification Program, AHEP, and the Affordable Housing Retrofit Accelerator both have web pages, and it both defines pretty thoroughly who qualifies through those programs. So just wanted to make sure that people know that there is information available on the site currently that you can view and better understand. But thank you.
That's good. Yeah. Tony has one more.
Yeah, real quick, and not to go all the way back, but yeah, for the low and high, is there somewhere where it shows the difference for the heat pumps of what's going to be considered low and what's going to be considered high?
Yeah.
'Cause I know you had a baseline of 15.2 down there, but it didn't show at what point it converted to the high.
So why don't we go back to the QPL, and then if you want to click onto it, and we can just show people what it looks like. So this is our site where we pulled this directly from Energy Star, so it's updated regularly. So if you just want to type in if you want to type in like Ream or Mitsubishi, just put something in the manufacturer. So 200. Maybe just copy like MLP 15 and just show them.
And this is a heat pump.
Yeah, this is a heat pump.
Let's look it up.
Okay, so 21 qualified here. So you'll see, obviously, like the outdoor model numbers there, indoor model number changes, but right here you have the Energy Star level. The thing, it's roughly based on CE tier 2, so it's usually like 17 or 18 SEER, depending on whether it's a ductless or ducted. But I would just look at the miles you sell most frequently, just confirm what it is here. It's Energy Star most efficient. But the delta is not as clear as it is with CE tier 2 of like what the thing is, but I can try and get more information to you on what that looks like. But I would just recommend looking here to see of the miles you sell, you know, what energy star level they are, and just confirm that. So yeah. Yeah, and the minimum CO2 or HSPF 2 are on that page. So thank you, Gail. Great, I think that's it. Thank you,
We
everyone
have
online.
one more question,
one more question,
sorry.
okay,
Yes. So this was asked, does that disadvantage condo communities versus those in single family homes? I asked because it is a barrier to folks in condos not experienced in single family homes.
So if John, if you could come off mute and just ask the question verbally, I'm just trying to follow where you're going with it. But to answer the question about individual owners of condos or co-ops, right? So if they are responsible, like there's always going to be a stove in a unit, right? If they're responsible for that equipment in the unit, they can get a rebate through this program. If their building is income qualified, they can go through another program with the DCSEU that uh, 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 that is for affordable multifamily buildings, regardless of if they're a condo, a co-op, or a renter building, or just a regular apartment building. So there's different ways that these buildings will have to income qualify, but there are different options for these buildings, right? This one is more focused on either an individual household, and in this case, a co-op or condo is an individual household and unit, and they have to be responsible for the things in their unit. If they're not, then they won't be able to work with a contractor one-on-one to get it replaced. The whole building would have to be addressed. So just wanted to note some of that right there. But if you have any more clarification that you wanted to provide, please feel free. Please feel free to come off mute. If not, I'm gonna go to the last question, and because we're at 2:28, I want to make sure we respect everybody's time. Which is, we had a client just fuel switch their HVAC, and the electrical final was yesterday. Can we retroactively apply for these rebates? Yes, October
Yes.
1. Go
Yes.
ahead, Emmett, you got it.
Yes, you can retroactively apply. Obviously, if you did not take pre-installation photos, there are the two other methods, whether it's a fully electrified home or partially electrified home. We would just need you to indicate somewhere on the invoice what the previous gas technology was, as well as, you know, the fuel, the gas capping, and the new technology installed. So yeah, Brooke's gonna pull that. Yeah, you would be able to, anything after October 1st, if you can provide documentation, would count under this program. So yeah, here's.
Thank you, Emmett. And John as well, like I would love to put you in contact with an account manager. So I have your information. So I'll definitely forward it to an account manager to make sure we service, like if there's a community of condos that's interested in electrification, we can definitely put them in touch with an account manager to see what we can do. Love to discuss that more, but thank you. Thank you for putting in all those questions.
Yeah.
And with that,
Good to wrap. Thanks, everyone.
I think we're good to wrap.
We'll be in contact.